Hello, folks, and welcome to the Know Better, Be Better podcast, a conversation about health and wellness, where we explore various topics to increase our knowledge and understanding in order to grow holistically. I'm Daron Raynor.
And I'm Dani, Ondreka. And today we're going to go over some tips to help you choose your next personal trainer or exercise professional.
So this matters then, doesn't it?
I mean, yeah, you're trusting your body to someone. I feel like that probably should matter.
Yeah, so the reason why we're doing this is because the exercise profession is a very broad profession. There are many, many types of people that suddenly they start a YouTube channel and they have all of the knowledge and expertise, or they've started reading a few books and they're suddenly the best trainer that's ever been. So we're trying to help the general population to best understand how to pick and how to understand who should be their exercise professional to work with. So the first thing that we're going to look at is the importance of having a degree and not just a certification, right?
Yes, absolutely. And not every trainer is going to have a degree. And that's not to say that trainers that don't have one aren't good trainers either. There are a lot of things that we're going to talk about today, but having a degree will absolutely set someone apart from just having a certification that maybe they paid a couple $100s for. And yes, they studied, and yes, they took a test. Maybe there was some kind of in-person aspect to it, depending on where you tested. But having that 4 years of experience, having that bachelor's of science really does give you a lot more of a well-rounded trainer.
Yeah, that's so important. I mean, when you look at the certification side of things, a lot of times it's just surface level to everything. So you cover behavior change, you may cover exercise technique, the human body, but you don't get into the nitty gritty, the depths of it to understand that the human body as a whole is a person, that your mental health affects your physical health and your physical health affects your intellectual health. And that all of those different types of factors need to be considered when being a personal trainer and dealing with different types of clients.
Yes. And degrees you should think about if you are looking at someone's resume, typically going to be in your health and sports sciences. So maybe not specifically a biology degree, although that would give someone a lot of information about the body, certainly on a smaller level, a cellular level. But thinking about maybe like your exercise science degrees, your exercise physiology, which typically is even a step above exercise science. They have a lot of pre-physical therapy degrees now. So those degrees definitely are going to give them very specific information in regards to how the body moves and how that relates scientifically.
And I think it's important to kind of recognize the importance of seeing the standard and setting the standard for yourself. So when I say that, it's one thing to hire like a handyman, right? But it's another thing to hire an actual like certified plumber or somebody who is like a certified electrician, somebody who is an expert in their field so that you can trust that what they're doing is the best thing that's being done. Sometimes, with handymen, you might trial and error and stuff like that. And that's, again, no disrespect to the personal trainers who just have a certification and maybe a high school diploma or a certification and another degree. But having something that is within the field, you want the absolute best for yourself. That's what we're trying to get you to understand, is set standards for yourself that you get nothing short of excellence.
Yes, absolutely. And I think in this world of Instagram influencers and people who basically are trying to sell you products and services, and a lot of times you don't even know if they really know what they're talking about, right? So, for example, a friend of mine, when we were coming into January 1st this past year, was looking for a new program to start. And she sent this to me, this woman. It was like $80 for like 4 weeks. And I scrolled to the bottom of the program description, and she even literally said, which most people will not say this, but it said in fine print at the very, very bottom of that description, I have no certifications, I have no schooling, all of this is based on my personal experience. And, she's charging money for this service. So maybe she's trying to, stay away from that liability. She's being upfront with people about it in that little fine print. The first thing I said to her was, no. I mean, did you read the bottom? She literally says wow, I have no experience except my own experience in the gym. That's a little scary. But man, she makes really nice videos on Instagram.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, is there's a lot of misinformation that gets spread around the fitness industry, from supplements, you could even talk about that, to exercise technique, to knowing what is best for you. The problem is that there's a lot of times a cookie cutter method that's being given to a lot of different types of clients of personal trainers. A lot of personal trainers will word of mouth pass on information or word of mouth pass on supplements or ideas or different types of things, not recognizing that for you, the client, that is not the best avenue to go. It's not the safest route to go.
Yes.
We have to understand that we are all individuals. Everybody needs to be tailored to specifically. And I think that's what an exercise degree helps to bring out in you. They teach you about misinformation, but they also teach you how to deal with certain situations, especially, for instance, you, Dani, work with special pops.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So
special populations.
Special populations,
yes.
for those who don't know. And you know that certain people need to be dealt with a certain way. You can't give, let's just keep it basic, you can't give a squat to a person with this type of maybe comorbidity or this type of issue and then expect another person with a totally different issue to be able to keep up with it, or even just ability-wise. It's irresponsible, and that's something that you get to cover a lot more with a degree. Now, granted, if you have a certification as a personal trainer, if you're listening to this, if you have a certification and you don't have a degree, the great thing is that a lot of these certification programs, they have continuing education courses so that you don't have to be stuck at just one level. You can keep progressing your knowledge and education, which is helping to bring up the fitness industry. But a lot of these types of things you actually will cover in your undergrad work if you decide to just go with a degree.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think those are great questions to ask as well, because most certifications do require you for renewal to have a certain number of continuing education credits. So asking your professional that you're working with, hey, like what kind of continuing ed have you done? What different kinds of topics are you interested in that you've been learning about outside of what you already know from your regular certification? And another point to kind of add, I know we mentioned supplements just for a moment there. Be just really wary of anybody that tries to tell you need to take this pill or this powder, especially if they're not a registered dietitian. That is outside of their scope of practice. So they should not even be recommending to you to take these BCAAs or this creatine or this XYZ. They are not actually supposed to give you those sort of recommendations. So that's something to look out for as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, once again, these types of things are covered in the degree, but you have to be, as a client, pretty selfish for yourself. The personal trainer is there to be of service to you. They are to lessen themselves and help build you up.
Yes.
It's not the other way around. You're not coming to be in their field because they're in high demand or whatever the case may be. They are there to give you the absolute best that you deserve in going forward, which is why, like you said, when you ask about CEUs or continuing education units, ask them, what exactly are you doing in furthering your education? And see, because they may continue their education, let's say, in an area of only sports performance, but you're not into sports. You're not into that area. So then that can help you say, okay, well, maybe this isn't the fit for me. This may not be where I need to go. I need to go to somebody who is dealing with maybe people who have type 2 diabetes or people who have multiple sclerosis, different types of specialties that you get information and also that you get educated on in order to tailor fit your work as a trainer to the client so that the client can know, okay, I'm in safe hands, right?
Yes, you want to make sure that your needs are met because one, personal training is an investment. Like you're spending money and nowadays, I mean, oh my gosh, they can be upwards of $100 an hour, some personal trainers more. So if you're going to invest that kind of time and that kind of money, you want to make sure that that person is going to give you what you're looking for. And also, a personal trainer that continues to learn and has that desire to learn, man, that's a person you want to be with, because even if they don't know the answer to a question that you have, or maybe they're not an expert in a field that you're curious about or that pertains to you, if they're willing to go learn about that, that's really awesome. That says a lot about them. Yeah,
the world of health and wellness is a progressive world. It doesn't stop. New methods, new ideas, everything is always being brought to the forefront. And you want to stay as up to date as possible as a trainer, and you want your client, as a client, you want your trainer to be as up to date as possible as well so that they can know how best to deal with you.
Yes.
Now, being that we are in a very broad area, like you can get a certification in probably 30 minutes or less if you wanted to.
Yes, there are places out there. We actually just had an issue with this at the gym that I work at. Some group fitness instructors, trying to go take like a 5-minute quiz. And I mean, you can go and pay $60 and take a quiz and get a certification that has your name on it. I mean, the internet is vast.
Yeah.
That does exist. But it's really, really important to know that your certification is accredited. So there is an organization called the NCCA, the National Commission of Certifying Agencies. You want to make sure that any certification that your trainer has is actually accredited. That means that that body, that governing body, has looked at the curriculum, has looked at that test, and has said, okay, a person who takes this test, knows this material, and is certified by this company, they probably know what they're talking about. We feel confident putting our name on this, putting our stamp of approval on this.
Yeah, it's the safest route to go because they regulate your tests, they regulate your exams, and the content and material of which you are studying as well, so that you are, one, up to date, as we mentioned, but also, two, you're competent in the field that you're about to enter. Like you, I know of a few exercise facilities that I have either been employed at or have gone to exercise at myself, and some of the trainers are certified in areas that are not NCAA or NCCA accredited. We're not talking about college basketball here. NCCA accredited. And they got their certification online, or they decide to get their certification by the gym. Sometimes gyms will certify their trainers in different areas. So you just want to be a little bit wary of that. It's important to do the research yourself when they tell you, oh, this is my certification, whether it be ACE or ACSM. All of these are different acronyms. So ACE is the American Council on Exercise, or the American College of Sports Medicine. The most popular one is NASM, right? National Academy of Sports Medicine.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to know these acronyms in order to be familiar with, okay, ACSM is more geared toward special populations.
Yeah.
ACE is more geared toward general fitness. And NASM is usually kind of like a pioneer right now in the world of general exercise and fitness as
They
well.
do a lot of strength as well. Like if someone's going to become a strength coach, a lot of those go through NASM. ACSM tends to be more clinical. They're a big regulating body of this field just in general. A lot of the research that you're going to see that's coming out about exercise and wellness is going to be through ACSM. So they tend to be more on that clinical side of things.
Yeah. And I highly recommend looking into trainers that have that certification, especially because a lot of times the clients are usually coming in on doctors' recommendations, or they're coming in because of different ailments or different limitations that they have. ACSM is a bit more considerate of those types of populations. Rarely do you really find a general fitness type of person. It's quite rare, actually.
Yes.
So if you're looking for general fitness, sure, you can look for a personal trainer who has any one of these certifications and you can be well served. But if you're in a population where you have maybe diabetes, or you have arthritis, different types of things like that, ACSM is probably your more safe route to go to bring out the best in you safely, you know?
Yes. Yeah. All of these organizations as well have search engines. So you can go to their website, you can go to the ACSM website, the ACE website, the NASM website, and you can search for a professional that is certified and accredited through them. So that's kind of a nice way to find professionals in your area as well.
Right, absolutely. So there's also conferences that trainers can attend.
Yes.
Right? And it's important to ask the trainer, what is the latest conference that you've gone to? What is the latest training that you've gone to? This kind of falls into the umbrella of our CEUs that we spoke of, our continuing education units. But you need to ask the trainer, have you been trained? It's something to sit in front of, you know, a computer screen, or to be looking down at a book all day. But have you gone to a training that makes this stuff practical and applicable?
Yes, a lot of that in-person stuff, that in-person training really makes a massive difference, because you could be really great at taking tests, but that has most of the time not a lot of bearing on what you actually do with a human being. So getting that hands-on training, getting to put your hands on someone, getting to see how their body moves, looking at their biomechanics, like real world application is so, so valuable. So highly, highly recommend. You may not find a lot of trainers who have been to big conferences per se, but that's a thing that will really, really set somebody apart. You know that they're wanting to learn the latest stuff. They're wanting to look at the latest research. They're going to be the most up to date, because those conferences are where they're kind of releasing the most up to date information.
Yeah. And I think another thing that is brought out is empathy. You know, I've always kind of moved on the principle with my clients of, I wouldn't put you through anything that I myself have not gone through.
Yes.
You know, and I need to make sure that I go through it in a way that it's like, I struggle through it. I suffer through it. I feel what they are about to feel, or I feel what they are feeling. So even though maybe I can do a chair squat pretty easily, making it in a way where I'm stepping out of myself and I'm in their shoes so that I can be more patient, that I can be more kind, and also be a better trainer for them. This talks about the principle of being able to tailor fit to your client. And that's what you want as a client. You want somebody who's been through the fire before you and somebody who's willing to go through the fire with you. And a lot of times being in front of a book or being in front of a computer screen doesn't always bring out that element in a personal trainer.
Yes. And I think it's important to mention here, as we discuss that as well, it doesn't mean that your personal trainer has to be like the most in shape, most attractive person that you've ever seen. I think a lot of times we take things at face value, and it could be genetics. They could maybe have a medical condition. Just as you have things that you struggle with, they do as well. So I think a lot of times as training professionals, sometimes people look to us to like always be in shape, to always look perfect, to always have it all together. We don't either. And looks are not a great reason to base your training decisions on. You should definitely think beyond that. And your training professionals should care. And I love that you say that you want to think about putting yourself in their shoes, because I say that to my clients all the time. I would never make you do something that I have never done. Why? I mean, I should be able to understand that experience fully so that I can bring my experience to the table and be able to consider yours. I think that's a really, really phenomenal point. They need to trust you.
I had a running joke with a client where I told him, you can test me on anything. So if I tell you we're going to do this, you can say, I want to see you do it first. And I would have to demonstrate.
That.
So he would always put me on the spot. So I'm almost working out with him because I'd have to do like 2 or 3 reps to show him I can do this, so that if I can't do it, then there's no reason for you to do it, you know? And it was a running joke, but it helped build that trust that it's like, okay, he knows what he's doing. He knows how to handle the situation. He knows how to cue and coach and different things like that, which is so important. Now, it's good to have, we talk about the flowery side of things, having a trainer that can empathize, having a trainer that can fit your needs, but we still have to be up to standard. So there's an importance about reassessing. Sometimes it's easy, and I'll say that I'm guilty of it as a personal trainer, to get so caught up in the relationship with the client that we're going strong for X amount of time, weeks, months, sometimes even years with a client. And it's like, we need to get into reassessing. We need to make sure that we are consistently reassessing, setting deadlines, because this is a professional goal that needs to be set, both for the trainer and also for the client. The client shouldn't have to be there all their life, essentially. As a trainer, you're trying to build independence. And so how do you build independence? By reassessing over and over again, seeing your work is happening, but also seeing that on top of that, results are being shown.
Yes. And most people will come to you with a specific goal. A lot of times it starts with that goal being, physique minded. And we try to challenge that with a performance-based goal, something that's less how you look or what the number on the scale is, and gives you something tangible to actually work towards. But having that goal in place, right? Having that mindset, we should constantly be working towards that goal. And if eventually we meet it, awesome. Let's reassess. Let's look at another goal. That's where we want to be. And if we're not seeing progress, that's a great time to reassess as well. If we've gone, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 16 weeks, we're not seeing that progress that we'd like to see. Let's look back at the construction of that program and let's fix it. So you want to be working with someone that is constantly challenging themselves in that way as well.
Yeah, I actually want to go back and echo a point that you just made. For all clients and potential clients out there, seek performance first. You will enjoy exercise when you do that. When you seek performance first, when you seek to build up your ability, when you seek to become more coordinated, when you seek to become more balanced, those different types of things, to be stronger, maybe faster, whatever the case may be, when you put that at the forefront, the results of how you look, the body fat loss, the weight loss and things like that, it's just a product out of that. A lot of times we're chasing the product and we don't chase the process, or we hate the process in order to get to the product. If you just choose the process over time, you're like, oh, wow, I've made it here. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I think Dani brings up a great point for all clients and potential clients. Choose a trainer that is performance-based.
Yes.
That does not mean that they got to be a sports coach, but if a trainer is talking to you about getting your body fat down and, how you're going to look and all these different types of things, ask them, what is the process going to look like? Let's see a blueprint. And then become more focused on the blueprint aspect, which makes it more enjoyable. And then you can trust that your results will probably follow. But if you get so caught up in the results, the process can be grueling. And also sometimes the process may lead you to disappointment as well. Because you're like, oh, I've only lost 2 pounds, or I've only, whatever the case may be.
Well, and one of the first things I actually ask new clients whenever they come to me, when we kind of consult before we start training, is to tell me about your experience with exercise. And I cannot tell you the amount of just awful stories people have told me about bad experiences they've had with people where they didn't enjoy what they were doing, or, the trainer pushed them past a level they were comfortable with because they were so afraid to say something. And they just have all of this negative association with exercise. And exercise is a mind game, first and foremost. And if you're not attacking that part of it as well, if you're not considering the client's feelings, if you're not thinking about them and putting them at the forefront, that really, man, that's so scary. So that's something that you want to think about as well. You want to make sure that you're creating a positive environment for your client. And if you're working with somebody, you're working with a trainer, and you're just not enjoying it, you're not having a good time, maybe that process that you're going through is not a kind of exercise that's super enjoyable to you, it's okay to stop working with that person. It's okay to shop around and find somebody else that maybe you fit a little bit better with. Because just as you're an individual, each trainer is an individual. And maybe you just don't click. Maybe you don't jive. Maybe it doesn't work. It doesn't mean you should give up on exercise, but maybe you just need to find somebody else to help take you there.
And a true exercise professional will be supportive of that.
Yes.
It's be careful of exercise professionals that are so prideful and that are very caught up in the money side of things. Yes, this is their living. Yes, we want to be respectful of their living. But at the same time, a true exercise professional will seek the absolute best for you. They're not going to be like, oh, well, you're supposed to be with me, when for sure there is another trainer in that gym that is more tailor-fitted to that individual. You're making a better name for yourself. You're making a better name for, obviously, the other personal trainer, the gym, but your product becomes more honest and more respectable. Yes. So you want to be aware of trainers that do those types of things. You want to make sure that you're choosing a trainer that is tailor-fitted to you, but if it doesn't work, they're more than happy to support you in finding another professional that is best suited for you. And this brings us to probably our final point, is the aspect of screening and design and documentation. The little bit, the more boring homeworky type of stuff,
Still important.
But it's still important. When it comes to the importance of screenings, you need to be able to know that your product is tailor-fitted to you. So we keep talking about being tailor-made or being specific. In order to be specific, the trainer has to screen you ahead of time. They have to go through a fitness assessment. They have to do some functional screening. They have to be able to look at every bit of the human body in order to know, non-invasively, what is best suited for you. Where are your imbalances? Where are some of your challenges? Where can you be better at? And seeking to make those better so that when it comes to your performance, it's optimized and stuff like that,
Yes. So if you're working with a good professional, they should be screening you on a couple of different things. They should be looking at your cardiovascular health, so your endurance, your cardiovascular strength. They should be looking at your muscular strength and muscular endurance. They should be looking at your flexibility. All of those things they should look at in the beginning. They should be able to see where your deficits are and see places that we might need to possibly improve in addition to your goals, because you don't want a deficit in a particular area. Like maybe you're not super flexible and that was not one of your goals, but one of your goals is strength. Maybe because of your lack of flexibility, you're not able to get down into a deadlift. Your hips are not open. Those things can hinder other portions of your fitness. So it's important that they are looking at the entire picture.
Yeah, and you want it in writing. You need to be able to have a record of it for yourself. And when it comes to putting together the blueprint of it all, you need to have access to that blueprint as well so that you can see where you're progressing, where maybe you're a little bit weak or where you've become weaker. Because the body is always adapting and changing when it comes to exercise. And you need to be able to know every step of the way what's going on. This is helping to build some of your own self-efficacy, but also trying to make you as a client your own trainer in the end. You shouldn't have to depend on the trainer in all things throughout your whole journey. The trainer should be there to help you build independence for yourself, you know?
Yes. And when we think about the design of your actual program, I think we've probably seen it. I don't know if anyone listening has experienced this, but it's very, very obvious when a trainer brings a program to you and you're like, wow, you've done this all week with every single one of your clients. I know that every single person has done 10 squats and then 10 bicep curls and then 10 tricep dips. And it's just very obvious that it was not tailor-made to you. So those are things to look out for. One of my best friends won some free sessions with a personal trainer. And that was one of the first things she said to me, that it was just so obvious that she had just been going through the motions. She had one program that she had written and she was just going to do it with everybody. It was like almost automatic for her. So that's something to look out for. But we do still want to be doing kind of the same things every week. So also be wary of those trainers that give you something brand new every single week. You're not doing any of the same exercises. You're having to learn new form every single week. That's not great either, because you do want to have some repetition of some of the same movements from week to week, which is why having a program is so helpful, because that's where you're going to see a lot of change. If you're not doing a weighted squat every single week, you're not going to ever really see how that improves in that particular exercise. So you need to do it, for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, however long. There's where you're really going to start to see some strength change.
Absolutely. You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
Just keep it simple, silly. That's how the KISS rule, right? We cleaned that up a little bit, but it is important to have a trainer that is just simply keeping things consistent. They're not having to reinvent things, but they're also making sure that they're giving you exactly what you need. And that's the simplicity of the matter. But you want to make sure that you're getting documents. You have to get documents of everything. You need to see where everything is progressing, where everything is going, because you're in charge at the end of the day.
Yes.
As we said, you're the boss and the trainer is at service to you. So you can determine, I want to go this route. I don't want to go this route. Allow the trainer to help you build confidence in yourself. And that's really what we're trying to do at the end of the day as trainers, but also as exercise professionals, and helping you find an exercise professional is who's going to help me become the best version of me. And part of that best version of me is independence.
Yes. And ultimately, it's your body, right? It's no one else's body. So even though you're placing your trust in this exercise professional to help you meet your goals and get where you want to go, it's your body. You're still the number one advocate for yourself. Even though they may be an expert in their field, you know what feels good and what doesn't. You know what serves you and what doesn't. So you have to show up and be ready to do the work, but also to question the work, because your health is the most important thing.
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes is, nobody can do you better than you.
Oh, come on.
That's it, So let's recap. When it comes to picking an exercise professional, these are the main points that we want to remember. Having a degree is important. If they don't have a degree and it's just a certification, check with them and see what continuing education or CEUs are you doing. Are you staying up to date? Are you a constant student? So as a client, look for a professional who is very much in the profession.
Yes. Okay? Look for certificates that are accredited.
Exactly.
As well, especially if that's the only thing they have. You want to make sure that they didn't just pay $70 to take a test before they start telling you what you need to do with your body.
Right. And that's from the NCCA commission, which is a website you can go to. You can look up different types of exercise professions, different types of certifications, and you can see specifically which one fits best for you. You can go to those websites. And a lot of times those websites will even give you personal trainers in your area that are certified in their background.
Yes. A great website to search for those NCCA accredited individuals is www.usreps.com. You can find everybody there.
Absolutely. And then we can find that they're continuing their education by going to conferences, putting themselves through the fire, as we talked about, making sure that they themselves are up to date, but also making sure that they themselves have gone through what you're either going through or about to go through, that it hasn't just been book work, it's been applied and practical work.
Yes. Also think about that reassessment piece. Did they assess you when you came in? Are they continuing with that assessment process as you move throughout their program?
Absolutely. And then finally, make sure that you're getting screened and that you're getting documentation of everything. because we need to see where we're progressing toward, where we're going in order to become the best and healthiest version of ourselves. We as trainers do it. You as clients should do it. You deserve to do it because, like we said, nobody can do you better than you, and you're in charge. Well, we have to quit now.
I think we just took him to church.
That pretty much wraps up our session today as we talk about the importance of picking your next exercise professional. We hope that you're able to take this information, this knowledge, and find the absolute best for you because you deserve nothing short of the best.
Yeah, we hope this has brought you a little bit more confidence, even if you're not an expert in this field, to be able to enter it and do the best that you possibly can for you.
Absolutely. But with Kettering Health, my name is Daron Raynor.
I'm Dani Ondreka. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Know Better, Be Better podcast. We'll see you next time.